You know, there's something rather curious about stress. The harder you chase peace, the faster it runs. You've tried routines, gurus, even glowing orb meditations, but the restlessness returns, doesn't it? In this video, you'll see why 5 hidden habits inside your own mind are quietly keeping you on a leash. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. I'll show you the simple linguistic switch, I am anxious, to I am feeling anxious, that loosens the leash instantly. Stay with me. You'll identify the exact saboteur running your day and the real reason you can't find peace in real time. What if the stress you feel at 10 a.m. has nothing to do with 10 a.m.? You know, there's something rather curious about how consciousness plays this game. Your feet stand in the kitchen, but your nervous system believes it's trapped in yesterday's quarrel and tomorrow's numbers. The body listens to thought as if it were a siren, not a whisper, and without checking the timestamp, it floods you with urgency that belongs nowhere in the room. Here's what happens. Most people try to plan more, over-prepare, rehash details, tighter calendars, longer post-mortems. Not clarity, but compulsion. The loop fattens on attention. You feed it with analysis. It pays you back in agitation. Not presence, but a rehearsal of danger that never steps onto the stage. Let me put it to you this way. It's like paying interest on a loan you never took. The bank statement keeps arriving, the heart rate, the clenched jaw, yet the principle is imaginary, a scenario that exists only in thought. Your biology foots the bill for a movie it mistakes for the news. Research points to the same pattern. Rumination predicts depressive symptoms, and mind-wandering correlates with lower happiness. Not because thought is evil, but because identification is sticky. When the mind narrates, and you forget it's narrating, the nervous system assumes happening now. So we change the grammar. I am overwhelmed becomes I am noticing thoughts about tomorrow. See the shift? From identity to observation. The event moves from me to content. The nervous system receives a new instruction. This is a representation, not a threat. Try the micro reset. Hand to heart. 1 slow breath down the front of the body. Then name 3 sensory facts in the immediate scene. Cool air on the cheek, weight of the foot on the floor, distant hum of a refrigerator. The body hears the evidence. No fire, only sound, contact, temperature. Time travel pauses. Perception reroutes. Another thing the awake person sees is precision weakens the spell. The more exact you label the mental movie, scene, soundtrack, headline, the less gravity it has. You are the sky. The thought is passing weather. And here's the quiet payoff. Renaming the experience as thinking about breaks the body's assumption that it is happening now. The charge drops, and you regain room to choose. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. What if your peace-eroding stress isn't just in your head, but in your social reflex? Ever notice the more you try to keep everyone calm, the less calm you feel? You offer smoothness, but your chest tightens. You keep the peace, yet your mind grows crowded. Curious, isn't it? This trade where the cost is higher than the purchase. Here's what happens. You say yes to avoid friction. Your calendar swells with small promises that add up to a quiet roar. Then the inner dialogue turns into a hushed argument. One voice scolding you for being selfish, another begging for one evening without obligations. Not harmony, but an internal standoff. Now, the hidden cost shows up in a subtle way. When you outsource approval, you import anxiety. You start scanning faces for signals, reading tea leaves in emails, rehearsing replies in case someone is disappointed. Boundaries blur, and you move from choice to reflex. Not presence, but a constant defensive crouch. Let me put it to you this way. It's like trying to steer 5 cars at once. You keep everyone from crashing, but your own vehicle slides toward the guardrail. Your attention fractures, your grip tightens, and you lose the lane that actually belongs to you. The research perspective is straightforward. Clear boundaries reduce role conflict and burnout. People who state limits cleanly often gain respect, not lose it. Why? Because clarity lowers guesswork. Others can orient to you without having to decode your mood or read through fog. So we change the sentence. Then the nervous system follows. Not, "I am selfish if I say no," but "I am feeling fear about disappointing someone." Notice the shift? Fear becomes a passing state, not a verdict on your character. States move, verdicts stick. Use the two-sentence boundary. First, here's what works for me. Then, here's what I can offer. Calm tone, plain terms. No apology tacked onto the end. You're not attacking. You're defining the lane you can drive well. Practice when calm. Pre-write 3 phrases for your common requests. Let your body memorize them, so when the ask arrives, you're not improvising under adrenaline. Your nervous system gets a script. You get a cleaner day. The small payoff is immediate. A clean boundary lowers chronic vigilance. Relief arrives, trust grows, and the constant chattering interference loses volume. Let me put it to you this way. If boundaries free your schedule, the next trap frees your identity. What if "I am anxious" is the spell that keeps you anxious? You know, there's something rather curious about language. It doesn't just report reality, it sculpts it. Emotions move through like weather, gusts, drizzle, thunder, and yet a small phrase can pour concrete over clouds. Say, "I am X," and the system takes it as a lifelong address. Here's what happens. When you attach "I am" to a passing state, the nervous system organizes around permanence. Agency shrinks, options dim, the horizon narrows to a single mood. Not a wave, but your whole ocean becomes labeled choppy, and with that, choice recedes. Let me put it to you this way. Ocean and wave. The wave can be chaotic, peaked, foaming, loud, but the depth remains steady. You are the depth. The wave is visiting, yet you've been arguing with the wave as if it were your name, defending or denying it, and in both directions, you get pulled under. There's a simple, practical lever here. Affective labeling, naming the state, reduces reactivity. Self-distancing, seeing the state from a step back, engages the part of the brain that steadies the helm and eases the limbic surge. Not dissociation, but regulation. Not bypassing, but clarity. So we change the clause, and you'll feel the space open. "I am angry" becomes "I am feeling anger," or even "anger is present." The moment you speak it this way, you stop being dragged by it and start being informed by it. Information guides action. Identification dictates it. Try the 90-second sit. No story, no courtroom. Label the sensation, the location, the intensity. Warm pressure in the face, tightness behind the sternum, 7 out of 10. Stay for the crest and the fall. Waves do what waves do when you're not shouting at them. Then, take it to the page for 3 minutes. Use "there is" statements. There is tightness in chest. There is heat in the neck. There is a thought about failure. There is a wish to escape. You externalize the weather report without declaring a new identity card. What arrives is a gap, small but honest, the space between self and state. In that space, you can choose to pause, to speak softly, to wait 10 minutes before sending the reply. Another thing the awake person sees is empathy without drowning. Let's step into the 4th trap and its release. How do you feel deeply without carrying everyone's storm inside your chest. You know, there's something rather curious about empathy. It's meant to connect you, yet unguarded, it hijacks your calm. High sensitivity is a gift, but when you absorb without filter, your mood gets borrowed, and your peace becomes collateral, traded away each time someone nearby has a hard hour. Here's the empath's dilemma. If you shield too hard, you worry you've gone cold. If you open fully, you drown in borrowed weather. Not numbness, not fusion. What you need is permeability with intelligence. A membrane, not a wall.
Let me put it to you this way. Think of empathy as wireless charging. You can share current across a small gap, steady, gentle, without plugging your nervous system directly into theirs. When you dock cable to cable, you adopt their voltage spikes. When you hold a measured distance, you transmit warmth without frying your circuits. Now, the research points to a useful distinction: empathic concern versus personal distress. Concern steadies you to help. Distress collapses you into their pain. Training in compassion tends to increase care while reducing overwhelm, because you move from identification to attunement, from me drowning to me present. So we change the language first, then the body follows. Not, I am upset because they are upset, but I am feeling resonance with their pain. Resonance is a modulation knob. You can turn it up to understand and turn it down to restore. You remain human and you remain usable. Use the three-step boundary of care. First, attune. I hear you. Let the other person feel seen. Second, define. Here's what I can do. Offer a clear, doable action. Third, release. Take one brief breath with a soft shoulder drop, signaling to the body that the handover is complete. Care delivered, cord intact, no secret leash. What arrives is a warmer presence that doesn't sponge. You preserve steadiness, and paradoxically, your care becomes more reliable. Now the final saboteur, the subtlest one, resistance to what is itself.